Forget yourself, young bumpkin. Wait.
I can't hear you. I'll turn off my big V8.
That's better. Sorry? You're asking how I never get ripped off when I buy a vehicle, and not just any vehicle, but a luxury one. It's very simple. I use Car Vertical. I have proof of it right here live. Thanks to Car Vertical, I can now make sure that the vehicles I buy don't have altered mileage. Or even worse, that they're not cars that have been in accidents. It's true that some vehicles are stolen across Europe and end up for sale in France, but that's not the case with the cars I buy. Come on, I know what I'm doing. Car Vertical is a really fantastic website that helps you avoid getting scammed all across Europe. I highly recommend using their services when you're looking to buy a new car. Do you find their services expensive? Wait, let me handle it and instead read what's on my car door. There's a little promo code you can use when buying your future report. After that, you can't say their services aren't affordable for everyone. Big wallets. I know a thing or two about that. It's time to start this video, and it's time for me to make a few more penguins disappear from this planet. See you soon.
Guys, well, that's it. Today's the big day. We're here for the transport of the Toyota Chaser to Tuboto. Now we're going to put it on the Dyno to see how much horsepower it's making with the stock turbo. And most importantly, Charles is supposed to join us. We're going to finish the tuning we started earlier. And now, my young dear friend Nico de Bordel has joined us. He has a license to tow a trailer. So he's the one who's going to drive this huge rig that's coming toward me. It feels very American right now. Honestly, it seems like we're heading to a drift event across Texas. It actually suits you. The Convoy's huge. I'm actually glad I bought this Sucon in the end. It's spotless. Here we go, heading to Tuboto. All right, man, thanks.
You're welcome.
Because without you, this convoy...
I can't. It's a pleasure to drive an American-style convoy like this.
So man, on the road...
People noticed me.
Too bad it's Japanese. You should have an American one instead. There you go.
It's too bad it's a Japanese one. My Chaser's cool.
Man, it's cool. Luckily it's a Chaser, because honestly...
Would you prefer this or a BMW?
I still prefer the Chaser.
Let's get back on the road.
Seuss arrived safely. He drove the convoy well.
You have to, right?
All right, now we'll move it into the garage and unload it from the trailer. We'll wait for Charles to arrive, unless he's already here. I didn't see his car, but yes, he's here. His Toyota is here too. Now we'll finish mapping this machine. That's it. We've unloaded the car. Charles is going to map the cold start for me, because it was having a bit of trouble starting when cold. So we didn't start it, we just gently rolled it off the trailer. We're going to let him handle everything related to the cold start and the rest. And after that, we'll bring it in gently and hook it up to the dyno. But I'm still going to show you a little bit of what's happening at Tuboto when it comes to builds. We're going to hook it up here. Here, I think there's no better place to tune a car. And well, for those who haven't seen the previous videos, Tub is a BMW specialist, mainly BMW grip, not so much drift cars. Here, for example, you see, he's working on a supercharged V8 in an M3E92. And the same goes for M3E92s. There are a bunch of them. They're everywhere, in all possible different configurations. Here, for example, this one, with the roll cage, the bucket seats inside. You know what's here? It's really some serious builds, the kind I like to come see from time to time. It's for... All right, you got it. So now it's good. It's on the dyno. They've set up the dyno. They've strapped down the car. Now they're going to do the first runs. So I think they're going to do a run to see if everything's okay. And after that, Charles will go into the link settings to adjust the boost a bit, adjust the ignition timing, to try to get the maximum performance out of the car as it is with its small turbo. Julian is behind the wheel, and actually, the goal isn't really to get the maximum horsepower out of it, because we don't need to. That's not what we're here for. The goal wasn't to set it up with the stock turbo, but to prepare it later with the big turbo. Right now, I just want them to make me a map so I can drive at the event without issues. Then we'll return after I install the big turbo. And then we'll really go for maximum performance, knowing that there will also be the camshafts and everything else. So this is really just a map so I can go to the event, get at least 300 horsepower and get through my 2 days there without any issues and, most importantly, safely. I'm also a bit happy because it's going to be the first time we put it on the dyno. And so I'll actually know at about 1 bar. I'll see if he puts 1 bar or a bit less, how much power my little Toyota Chaser will put out. So I just went to ask them if everything was going well, and Charles told me that on the first run, before touching the tune, it just put out 310 horsepower and 439. I don't know how we're going to stay below 650 Nm when it's going to put out at least 500 horsepower. But yeah, even as it is now, it's already huge. So we only gained 30 horsepower. But on the other hand, we gained a lot of torque with the parts I installed. And now he's going to set it to just under 1 bar because, anyway, stock, it runs at 0.7 of a bar, so it's not that much. And he's also going to adjust the ignition timing. He told me we'll add +2. If it works, it works. If it fails, we'll revert and leave it. I'm listening. What's up?
What do we do?
Already 330 horsepower.
It gained 20 horsepower with 2 degrees. Okay, what do we do?
You're the tuner. You're the tuner. And there's a good mechanic next to you. So, with both of you together, I'm not the one you should be asking.
I didn't like it in the story. We can still take more, but are we going to chase the boost?
How much is it at?
We haven't touched the pressure. We're flirting with 1 bar up to 5,000, and after that, it goes down gently.
If you're flirting with the bars, as long as you don't go over 1 bar, that's fine with me.
Anyway, the Chumbo is maxed out. From 5 to 7, it's pulling hard.
If you want to add degrees, go ahead. Just don't raise the boost. The block is fine. If it increases, you'll notice, especially if it gets too high.
We'll see. Currently, the knock sensor either doesn't exist or isn't reading data, so check the exhaust for small puffs of smoke. Alright, did you see any or not?
Did you see any smoke behind you?
Just small plumes, no.
Poof? No, but I'll check if you want.
We need to do this. I'll add 1 degree, yes. We'll see what it does, okay. Beep. We're going...
So what you just saw is called anti-lag, more commonly known as pop and bang. There, Charles did something for me. He didn't tell me about it, actually. He just activated a kind of anti-lag pop and bang for me, if you can call it that, but only on the AC. That means when I turn on the AC, it does that. When I turn off the AC, it doesn't do it anymore. While waiting to be able to install a small, discreetly positioned button, he told me not to use it when I'm drifting. It's not necessarily very good. So it'll just be for my personal enjoyment when I go out driving the car. This way, I don't bother people when driving it on the street, which is great. Explain to me why we call it pop and bang now.
Actually, originally it was simply called the Bang. And that's because back in the rally days, they had small engines with huge turbos that weren't like today's technology. When they let off the gas to take a hairpin or a turn, the boost would take forever to come back.
So what they did
Is that there was a system called the bang, which meant that when you let off the gas, actually they tried to keep the turbo pressure up. So it kept injecting, basically it opened the idle control valve, so it brought in more air, more fuel, and the ignition was delayed, so it actually fed your turbo with energy. So it stayed spooled, which meant that when you got back on the throttle, you already had boost. And that's why rally cars, when they come into hairpins, you hear ba 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 from the back, because they're actually in anti-lag mode.
That's what you put to the key button.
Exactly, just for fun. Alright.
And what about the load then?
I didn't put any load on it. There you go.
You.
Just did it.
Without the load.
But later, when you're drifting, we'll try to make an anti-lag that works. You'll see you'll have a car that's super responsive.
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
That, on the other hand, could be interesting.
That's what we'll do, just not with your catalytic converter.
It's actually the cat, causing trouble during prep in this dyno run. We just need one final run to confirm everything's fine, then we're done. Last run, 327.9 earlier, 329.97, yeah. Yes, it heated up. It's been warming up since earlier. You've been rough with it. We've been running it, huh? Yeah, it's hot now. All right, well, perfect. Impeccable. Thanks again. You're welcome. My pleasure. I'll go recharge this. Charles, thanks again.
Thank you very much, Peter.
We'll see each other again soon. That's right. Then you'll be able to let loose. We'll make the same video for you again once the big turbo's in there. And without a catalytic converter. Yes, without a cat especially. You'll need a little heat shielding for your straps, huh, Julian? There are chains, so that makes a port. Guys, it's done. We'll meet at the JMT garage. We're back from their place. And on the lift. So now, we're going to do the last step before taking it for some test drives. To make sure everything is fine before heading to the event. It's the oil cooler. Because with the future setup we're going to put in, it's absolutely necessary to install an oil cooler. Otherwise, the oil will overheat. It would be a real disaster. And I absolutely don't want anything to happen to the engine. We're installing the oil cooler and sandwich plate now. I only bought quality parts, so it'll be cool to see. The gauge sensors haven't arrived yet, so that's for later. We'll test it and check everything on the computer. And normally after that, during the event, everything should go smoothly anyway. Eventually, we'll add sensors and remote gauges so I can always keep an eye on it. The equipment we're going to install is very simple. So, I don't know if you've already seen it in the stories on Insta. I had bought hoses from a supplier that were supposedly Cooling Solutions hoses. I later discovered the Cooling Solutions were just Chinese products, and I refused to use Chinese parts in my oil circuit. So, following the good advice of Theo Calvez, by the way, I'll put his Insta here. He has a beautiful chaser, and he gave me this advice. He told me, man, spend the money, but get Goodrich. At least then, you won't have any trouble. And how do you tell if it's Chinese or Goodrich? I'll show you two different colors. Look, the Goodrich one is mainly blue with a red tip, whereas the Chinese one is a bit different. That's how you recognize it. And anyway, you can feel it. That's $150 just for the fittings. My ass is still twitching from it. A new oil filter, Grady, because we're going to take the opportunity to do an oil change and put in new oil before the event. That way, we can be at ease. And my oil cooler's in there. I'll unpack it for you and show you in a bit. The centerpiece for this whole setup is going to be the sandwich plate from Chase Bay that I bought in the United States, which is really going to be an amazing part. Because if you look closely inside, there's a thermostat. This means it will automatically open or close based on oil temperature, allowing or blocking flow through the cooler, which is why, if I haven't put the sensors in the holder yet, it's not urgent since it manages itself. Mechanically, that's already cool. And this is the adapter for fitting an oil filter to the 1JZ. We're going to install this right away. So we'll take off everything we need to, the old parts. It's on the lift. I'll install it and check back in once it's installed. This is more complicated than I expected. With the help of Thebo, who's here and gave me some advice, Basically, I thought I was going to put my sandwich plate here. Actually, it won't go there since that's the car's stock oil-to-water heat exchanger. 2 hoses come from the top, and I wasn't sure where they came from. I thought it was an oil inlet, an oil outlet or something, that it was going to the turbo. But no, Thibaut told me it's water. So we can remove that. That will give us access to the sandwich plate here. It's not very visible. And on top of that, I noticed there's a sensor. So basically, I need to take apart this whole section to make some space and put my sandwich plate here against the block. Well, you won't see much here. But anyway, I've removed it. There you go. The original oil cooler is right here. There you go. It looks like this. So here were the water hoses, and here was the original oil filter. And this was against the engine block. So now, we're going to put our sandwich plate directly against the block instead of this. And we'll also gain some space and width. The filter will be a little less close to the body. All right, I'm going to simulate all that and put it in place. I didn't film the steps of removing and reinstalling the hose because the tension is high and I don't want to mess up. Because now, as you can see, I'm using Goodrich fittings. It's very expensive and there's really no room for error. This one's good. I've made one. I made this fitting that I attached to the sandwich plate. I made the second one here. I'm going to attach it right next to it. And then I'm going to put the sandwich plate in place. That way, after that, I can run my hoses. That way, I've left enough distance up to the front of the car to see a bit how everything is positioned, where they're going and all that. And at the end, I'll install my oil cooler. I'm actually tightening everything that's on the sandwich plate because after this, I won't be able to get to it anymore. I can't reach it with the wrenches, so I have to tighten everything now. As for the radiator up front, I'll have room to tighten it there. All right, that's it. The plate has been installed. I won't hide the fact that I didn't film the process because it went really, really, really badly. It was truly a disaster. We had to remove the plate again, I don't know, about 10 times. I literally crushed my hands because there's really very little space to work. It was Thibaut who came to help me at the end to hold the plate in place. And he screwed it in, he installed it. I just gave up. And I don't really like filming at that moment because it's already hard enough mentally. And this time, it was really extremely complicated. Basically, that's it. Well, I haven't cleaned the engine yet. But that's it, you can't even see it. Anyway, the plate is fixed. The hoses are attached. There's one that goes off that way, loops around, and comes back. It's a matter of hose orientation. We couldn't do it any other way. Then, the hoses come here, above the intercooler. They come out here. So everything is filthy because the car was left outside without a bumper. And so, I'm going to secure the radiator right here, as planned. That's good. I'd say the hardest part is over. But it was a total shit show. Really, it was complicated. When I'm not filming like this, it's because the operations are already complicated and mentally tough. I won't lie. Let me remind you, for those who don't know, I'm far from being a mechanic. It's not my job at all. And unfortunately, sometimes I get into things where I feel like it's going to go well. Unfortunately, it doesn't go well. So that's why I'm doing this at JMT Classic Auto with Thibaut, so that I have support in case I end up getting myself into a situation I can't get out of. And I'm not ashamed to say it, unlike some YouTubers who hide the fact that they get help and have people working for them. I'm not ashamed to say it because it's not my job. I'm being transparent with you. I was really glad they were there. Anyway, most of the time, you see it when Anthony or Thibaut are working with me on the car. We didn't film this time because it was a mess. We started at 8 a.m., it's now 5 p.m., and we're still not done. I still need to install the radiator. But yeah, this isn't the kind of job I enjoy doing. I'm especially really looking forward to working on the big turbo because I hope, if I'm not mistaken, it'll be much easier to do than this kind of thing that's clearly designed for children's hands. Because right now I really wrecked my forearms. Anyway, all right, I'm going back. So now we're finishing the bracket to mount the radiator. So I drilled a small hole right here. Here I trimmed down the radiator. Tib is making a bracket for me to support the other side of the radiator. That way, at least, it will be held at the top, at the bottom, and at the top here. And normally with that, after all that's left is to connect the hoses and we're good. Well, end of the day, it was a really exhausting day, very mentally tough. I have a really hard time actually dealing with it when things that are supposed to go well end up not going well. It's 8 p.m. I've been here since 8 a.m. and I'm not done yet. I'll come back tomorrow morning to finish, but I'm almost done. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm coming back. Just making sure I didn't mess anything up today before starting, like forgetting to add oil. Right now, the engine doesn't have any oil. If I start it like this tomorrow, someone's not going to be happy. That'll be me, or you'll find me curled up on the floor in a puddle of pee. So now I just have to put the oil back in the engine, and I'll show you where I am with the radiator. Sorry about the lighting. There's a serious lack of light. This is where I'm at. That is to say, the radiator's attached. The first hose is on. I just need to make the second one, which is right here. And the bracket Thebo made for me looks like this, so it's pretty good quality. It's perfect. It matches the tone of the car. And so the radiator will be here with the hose going down. So it doesn't matter if the hoses are facing down, for those who might be worried. When everything is pressurized, everything circulates. So I just have the second hose left to do. And then I check everything. I inspect. I add the oil. I heat it up until the thermostat actually sends the oil into the radiator. Then I check the level again. And normally that's it. After that, I'll also take a little drive. I'm going to finish adjusting the brake pads that I installed last time because they're not grabbing very hard. I still haven't ridden since installing them. So I'll go for a ride to break them in and see if they need more adjustment. I might also take the opportunity to go wash the car because, honestly, it's a mess right now. See you tomorrow morning, guys. It's the next morning. I've reattached the second oil hose, so everything is good now. Both hoses are attached. They go underneath. The oil filter's in place, so now it's time to add the oil. I also took off the wheels because I'm going to do a quick bleed before the event. That way I can be at ease. And we're going to fill it with a new oil that I'm going to test. So, following the good advice of Thebo, who's over there, I'm going to try the Champion Pro Racing 1060M. Apparently, he puts that in his cars. It's crazy. It costs a bit less than what I'm used to using, like Castrol or Eagle. So, we're going to use that. And what I suggest is that I'll test this in my engine. And after the event, if it's good, I might even put it up for sale on my website, Resort Performance. That way, we can offer you an alternative for 1060 that doesn't cost a fortune. So here, it's a 20-liter can, and it's also available in 5-liter cans. Even 200, if I'm not mistaken. So now I'm going to take Thebo's oil. I'll test it in the JZ and let you know. The Chaser. It's not here anymore. It's not here anymore. That's it. It's over. It's outside. So I put it outside because I'm going to warm it up this afternoon. But I forgot the coolant. It's at my place. So that's good timing. It's 12:20. I'm going home to eat. I'll come back with the coolant. I'll warm it up this afternoon. I'll check the water and the oil. And I think after that, I'll go for a drive. I'm not going to film it for you because there's no point. I'm going to go break in the new brake pads. That way, at least I free up the garage. Thebo can keep working, and I'll take care of that outside this afternoon. I didn't necessarily film the whole reassembly, changing the tires and all that. It's fine. I'll skip that for you. There's nothing really interesting. I also bled my front calipers again just to make sure everything's okay. I think we're in a good spot now. We'll see when it heats up. Are there any leaks? I really hope not, honestly, because I don't want to have to deal with it again. So, normally fingers crossed. But if everything goes well and everything is done right, the car is finished. It's morning. It's very quiet. I like it when it's like this. Chaser, she's here. So, Charles is going to map it a little more, because I still had a small problem with cold starts. We couldn't work on it much, since for each cold start, the car has to have sat overnight. So, since we haven't seen each other many times, he only had time to do it twice, once yesterday. And now this morning, he's going to remap it one last time. He's going to make a couple little tweaks to the rev limiter to ensure the event goes smoothly, but you won't see him. Actually, Charles is here. He's here, there you go. He's going to come and connect here. He'll finish mapping the car remotely from his place, while I'll just turn the ignition on and rev the engine as needed. So now I've set everything up so we can call each other and he can map it calmly. I've also put on the biggest Dyno semi-slick tires for the event. I can tell you, they're going to grip. I put on 265S, how much? 265/35 18. So, really hard rubber. Axel recommended this rubber, saying, just put it on your car. At worst, overinflate a bit and it'll work. It looks great. I had to raise it because the tire rubbed. So maybe I raised it a bit too much. But on the other hand, for me, I'm sure it doesn't rub. And, I don't like driving low. Since it's still soft in the back, my adjustment is better. Now the car has some movement. We'll finish mapping it calmly, and then the car will be done. And then all that's left is to put it on the trailer and head to Wonderland. Right, Miko? What do you think? I'm filming at the same time. So I'm showing that you're absolutely not here and that you're tweaking my car remotely. You're just adjusting the cold start a bit, right?
So the cold start, quote unquote, the little problem we have, it's one of the small flaws of the link. For me, your car has trouble starting because it lacks enough ignition advance when cold.
All right.
The problem with Link's strategy, and I'm not the only one to bring this up to them, is that they don't have a specific map for the ignition advance we want during cranking. And so, as a result, the advance that's applied is the one we want at idle once the engine has started.
All right.
To put it simply, I would like it to have about 25 degrees of advance while cranking, which would really help it start on ethanol. But since in my idle strategy I have a target of 10 degrees, well, it's going to apply 10 degrees at startup. And it doesn't give us the option to choose during this little phase we call cranking. I would like to be able to add more, but this feature doesn't exist. I have the same problem on my Mini, that's why it takes a second or two to start, whereas it could start much better, you know?
It's funny that they don't add that, even though they're really advanced. Yeah.
It's funny, but I think it's because the strategies related to ethanol are actually quite complete. But since they don't necessarily have any in New Zealand...
Ah, right. They haven't developed that.
They didn't emphasize that thing, but it's a shame because from a software point of view, there's not much to add. I had a specific map that only activates at startup, and after that, it switches to your idle target. So it's not that hard to do, but still.
Maybe it'll come later.
Because right now, we're on the G4 platform, maybe the G5S have it, but then the G5...
It doesn't exist for the no, not yet, yeah?
We're going to start, so I'm just going to record.
I'm standing next to the starter, ready to start.
Well, don't turn off the starter if you want.
I'll keep cranking until it starts.
Yes, exactly.
Let me know when it's good. Let's start.
Sebastian.
Okay. There, it started.
You're going to do a little test drive on the road, just to see if everything's okay before going to the event.
Yes, that's planned, but I still need to fix my handbrake.
That would be good, yeah. That way you can keep an eye on me. And if there's a little tweak to do, even if I need to stop by your place, at least we'll be sure you're going to the event with everything properly set up.
All right, I'll let you know. See you.
Great, sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Too bad.
Have a nice day. Can I turn off the computer and everything now? Is everything okay? Yes.
You can turn it off, it's fine.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Charles. I'll keep you updated. Bye, ciao, ciao. Perfect. Charles was just telling me that this was the 27th version of the map he had made, because actually, every time he makes a small change, he saves it and keeps all the data. And he told me that was the legacy from his previous job, when he worked at Bosch, that basically, he adds little notes each time, small annotations on each map to say, in this one, I changed this, in that one, I changed that. So if one day he changes something, well, we can go back and see exactly what caused the error. We're finally back home after those long, not-so-pleasant hours of working on the car, to be honest with you. But that's it. The car's finally ready for the Wonderland event. So, I want to tell you, this will be the Chaser's last hurrah before we install the big turbo. And I even want to tell you, if everything goes well at the Wonderland event, it's not impossible that the following week, I'll go for a little drive at Le Castellet with my friends to really finish with the Chaser, or at least to really enjoy it one last time before putting it away for a while. We're coming to the end of this video, but I'm not going to leave you like that. I'm going to show you some footage of what's waiting for you in the next Chaser video. And you're going to see my car brake, but it won't be me.